In recent years, many families have struggled to make ends meet due to a number of economic factors. However, there are certain warning signs that indicate things could get much worse. Welcome to today's video, where we will be discussing the 10 signs that American families are about to be wiped out. We will be exploring these signs in depth today to help you understand the challenges that many families face and how to prepare for them. Sign number 1. Increasing debt levels. The rising levels of debt are one of the most important indicators that American households are going to collapse. Many families are finding it difficult to make ends meet, which may result in foreclosure or bankruptcy. Excessive levels of debt can also be stressful and anxiety-inducing, which can be harmful to one's mental health. Despite a respite during the coronavirus era, Americans are now largely relying on borrowing to keep up with the decades-high inflation on necessities like food, gas, and housing. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, credit card debt is increasing at its quickest rate in more than 20 years. In total, Americans owe $887 billion on their credit cards, a rise of 13% from the previous year. Families are already feeling the squeeze of increased borrowing costs as a result of the Fed's recent quick increase in interest rates to control inflation. According to Bankrate, average credit card rates are currently at their highest point in 30 years and are certain to keep growing. Sign number 2. Rising unemployment. The growing unemployment rate is the second indicator that American families are on the verge of extinction. Many families are struggling to make ends meet as a result of the pandemic's widespread employment losses in numerous industries. The number of households living below the poverty line has increased as a result of this. Few states have yet to take any action for the self-employed and gig workers who are in need of assistance, and state unemployment offices are so overburdened that many people are still waiting for unemployment checks weeks later. Even governmental aid funds are frequently referred to as stimulus money. Thursday's regular trading saw little movement in the stock market since Wall Street traders had previously accounted for significant job losses. Sign number 3. Skyrocketing housing costs. The soaring cost of housing is another indicator that American households are on the verge of being wiped out. In many cities, the cost of living has risen to the point where many families cannot afford good housing. In many areas of the nation, this has caused an increase in homelessness and overcrowding. Housing has remained a difficulty for both purchasers and renters alike, as inflation, petrol prices, and other rising expenditures have strained people's wallets. Data gathered from the St. Louis Federal Reserve shows that the median home price has increased by more than 15% in the last year. Renters also experience similar suffering. Redfin reports that while rents increased by an average of 15% from a year earlier in May, the increase was more than double that in some areas, including Austin, Nashville, and Seattle. Sign number 4. Lack of access to healthcare. Lack of access to healthcare is the fourth indicator that American families are on the verge of extinction. Many families lack access to quality healthcare and health insurance, which can result in major health issues and financial hardships. Being both the most common and difficult is healthcare. Although it can be difficult for low-income families to have access to quality healthcare in America, this review of the literature identifies 3 major obstacles: a lack of education, problems with health insurance, and mistrust of healthcare professionals. Many variables that have an impact on vulnerable subgroups of low-income households influence each barrier. Understanding the obstacles that low-income families must overcome in order to get healthcare is the first step in coming up with long-term sustainable solutions. Sign number 5. Declining education quality. The falling standard of education is the 5th indicator that American families are on the verge of extinction. Many kids are unable to acquire a quality education while public school funding is declining. Future pay decreases and fewer job options may result from this. Sign number 6. Increased food insecurity. Increased food insecurity is the 6th indicator that American families are on the verge of extinction. Many families cannot afford wholesome food, which can result in malnutrition and other health issues. Sign number 7. Growing wealth inequality. The rising wealth disparity is the 7th indication that American families are on the verge of extinction. The top 1% of Americans now hold more money than the bottom 90%, widening the country's wealth divide. As a result, it becomes more and harder for families to obtain financial security and stability. Because of years of policies that have reduced both public spending and private income for families with children, we've identified high wealth inequality as a result. Samuel Preston, a demographer, cautioned that the United States had undertaken a combination of private and public choices that have drastically transformed the age profile of well-being in 1984 by putting resources into enhancing the lives of the elderly while ignoring the needs of families with young children. The support for children in political issues just seems too weak to fight back. Sign number 8, decreased social mobility. Reduced social mobility is the 8th indicator that American families are on the verge of extinction. Due to a lack of access to jobs, healthcare, and education, many families are unable to advance economically. This may result in a vicious cycle of poverty that is challenging to escape. Sign number 9, environmental disasters. The rise in environmental catastrophes is the 9th indication that American families are destined to perish. Many families are losing their homes and means of support as a result of climate change's increased frequency and severity of natural catastrophes. Long-term economic suffering and financial catastrophe may result from this. Sign number 10, lack of government support. The lack of government assistance is the 10th and final indication that American families are on the verge of extinction. Many families are left on their own due to social program cuts, a shortage of accessible housing, and the high cost of healthcare. Families may find it tough to overcome their difficulties as a result of feeling gloomy and depressed. Public confidence in the federal government has been at or very close to record lows for years. That still holds true now as the United States battles a pandemic and an economic downturn. Just 20% of American adults say they generally or always trust Washington's leadership to do the right thing. But Americans have also consistently shown support for the federal government's performance in a number of key areas. Majorities also want the government to play a significant role in tackling issues like preventing terrorism, ensuring access to healthcare, and reducing poverty. Keep in mind that it's crucial to be educated about the health of American families and the state of the economy. Take action to safeguard both yourself and anyone nearby if you notice any of the indicators we discussed in this video in your own life or neighborhood. Thanks for watching today's video. If you found this video informative, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family.